After being imprisoned for a petty crime, Suzuko Satou returns to her hometown only to become disillusioned with her life and the people around her. The neighborhood gossip ceases to diminish and family conflicts are significantly heightened. She decides to start anew by saving 1 million yen, leaving her past behind, and moving to a new town where nobody knows her. She repeats this cycle, earning money, moving to a new place, and avoiding relationships, until her walls begin to crumble and the difficulty of running away from one's past becomes too unmanageable. Her journey through isolation, self-discovery, and freedom capture the struggle one faces in combating the arduous challenge of confronting conflict, and especially conflict within ourselves. 1 Million Yen Girl is a film that showcases, in a melancholic atmosphere, the difficulty of dealing with life and our desire to erase its burden. Suzuko Satou is a quiet and introverted girl who has trouble standing up for herself. After this weakness unfairly sends her to jail, she decides to embark on a journey of change by running away. However, unlike what we generalize about running from our problems, this solution provides the adequate stimulation she needs to transform herself into a more emboldened person. So she begins her journey, starting with the first town. Her journey initially begins with the event that unrighteously causes jail time. Suzuko is having complications living at home with her family, but she doesn't possess the adequate wages from her part-time to move out. This is when a coworker of hers offers to split the cost of an apartment if they move into it together. A little hesitant, but intrigued by the idea, Suzuko complies and they register for an apartment. Unbeknownst to Suzuko, her friend conveniently omits the fact that she plans to invite her boyfriend to move in with them. Though Suzuko feels a sense of unease about the situation, she chooses not to address it and reluctantly goes along with the arrangement. When the day arrives for the move, Suzuko's friend is nowhere to be found, only her boyfriend shows up. He explains that they've broken up and she won't be moving in after all, leaving just the two of them. Despite the growing sense of unease gnawing at her, Suzuko once again avoids confronting the issue and allows the situation to unfold as it is. Suzuko finds a stray cat and decides to bring it home. She heads off to the store to buy it food, but when she returns, the cat is gone. The boyfriend coldly informs her that he threw it out, and it's not hard to imagine the grim reality of what that means. Furious, Suzuko waits for a time when he's out of the apartment and throws all of his belongings out in retaliation. However, when he presses charges, the police unfairly side with him, leaving her at a disadvantage once again. Supposedly, there was 1 million yen in the luggage she threw away. Suffice it to say, Suzuko is overwhelmed by stress and turmoil. Betrayed by a friend, unjustly convicted of a crime, and sentenced to jail, she becomes the target of relentless gossip and criticism from her town. Even her own parents, especially her beloved brother, look down upon her. All of this drives her to leave town in search of an escape from her troubles. After a fight with her family, she declares that she will save up 1 million yen and move out, determined to no longer be a burden to anyone. She vows to depend solely on herself. Her first venture has her working at a small beachside shop in which she serves customers by making snow cones. The owners of the shop praise her considerably after she displays proficient craftsmanship in snow cone creation. Though the compliment is appreciated, she doesn't know what to think of such a useless skill. One of the beachgoers is infatuated with her demeanor and asks her out on a date. A party is set up along the beach shore for her. After leaving the party early to take the shop owner's son back home, she is confessed to, only to respond with a rather cold rejection. The next day she quits the job and heads for another town, for she has saved up 1 million yen. She finds herself the laborer of farm work, picking peaches in a small rural countryside as her next destination. The owners of the farm praise her considerably after she displays proficient craftsmanship in peach picking. They begin to call her Peach Girl. Though the compliment is appreciated, she doesn't quite understand the elderly sense of humor. After the mayor catches word of a beautiful new girl in town, he pays a visit to the farm. He offers her to become a kind of poster girl in order to help with the town's PR. She is reluctant to do it, but an overzealous mayor is neglectful of her feelings. This eventually escalates into a town meeting in which the residents spew insults at her for refusing to help their notoriety. They call her selfish and entitled. This drives her to declare in front of everyone that she doesn't want to do it because she has a criminal record. She storms away in shame, leaving the townsfolk stupefied. The next day, she quits the job and heads for another town, for she has saved up 1 million yen. Her next venture takes her away from the country and into the city where she works as a florist. This is where the pattern in the narrative starts to shift as she struggles for the first time at her job. This symbolizes and foreshadows the inevitable consequence of avoiding your problems for too long. Though running away may provide initial relief from hardship, this uneasiness is only temporary, and prolonging confrontation for an extended period of time will make your life become difficult again. Lucky for her, she has a charming young college man training her, and she falls head over heels for him. This also is a break from the pattern we've been following. Their relationship blossoms from a mentor and trainee into romantic lovers. She confides in him that she has a criminal record and left home as a result. He doesn't judge her in any way, and this makes her feel at ease. It seems leaving her home was the best decision she's made. She decides to stay in this town a little longer than usual. She may have found what she was searching for. She may have found the sense of belonging she's craved. A new girl joins the ranks amongst their workplace, and Suzuko's boyfriend is tasked with training her. These lovey-dovey moments between Suzuko and her boyfriend start to get shared with the new girl. He appears to be flirting with her. Adding to Suzuko's unease, her boyfriend continues to ask her for money, further straining their relationship. She obliges, however, constantly loaning out money whenever needed. She doesn't confront him at all about his cheating. Does this sound familiar? This is the same pattern of behavior that led to her wrongful imprisonment. Suzuko has always avoided confrontation, whether it was fleeing the beach when approached or leaving town when the locals turned on her. Now her troubles have caught up with her once again, and this time she can't simply run away. She doesn't have her million yen saved up yet. She's at a crossroads. Either face her problems head on, or forever avoid them and risk repeating her past mistakes. She proclaims enough is enough and does what she knows is right. She breaks up with him and makes plans to leave town despite not having a million yen. That night, as she arrives at her apartment, she gets her first letter from her brother. Though she has been writing to her brother all this time, she hasn't received anything back from him. She eagerly opens the letter to read whatever he might have sent her. He explains that during an altercation with his bullies, he injured one and was unfairly sent to child counseling as a result. His parents tell him that he should leave his current school and transfer to a new one. However, he remembers her on a very particular day. She was walking back home from the grocery store and ran into some bullies of her own. They pushed her around and insulted her for having a criminal record. Rather than standing by and taking it, she threw food at their faces and put them in their place. Her brother was inspired by this event, and influenced by her bravery and courage, he vows not to run away from his bullies, but to confront them. He declares that he will not transfer schools. This is when Suzuko realizes her weakness, and she breaks down. Her brother looks up to her, seeing her as courageous and strong, yet she doesn't see herself in the same light. In reality, she's been a coward, a total coward. She thought she was a stronger person, but she was not. She's been running from her problems, avoiding confrontation, and mistaking avoidance for strength. Her journey from town to town has only led her in circles, a cycle of repeating the same mistakes. She hasn't learned anything, lacking growth and maturity. Now, everything she tried to escape from has finally caught up with her, all her troubles and responsibilities. She can no longer ignore them. She thought she could avoid troubles and live peacefully by simply agreeing and laughing, but this avoidance of difficulty has only led to a more difficult life. Ironically, while her brother had been inspired by her unintentional actions, it is now she who finds inspiration in him. In this moment, she vows to stop running and face her troubles and insecurities directly. In the next town, she wants to stand on her own 2 feet and face the world head on. Her ex-boyfriend returns all the money he borrowed from her, and she says her farewells. Suzuko is on her way to board the train, and looks back one last time at her past before parting and moving into the future as a transformed person ready to face the world. Looking back on the film, it's clear that despite the betrayals and ridicule Suzuko faced, she was also surrounded by people who loved and cared for her. At the beach, she was cherished by those around her who valued her company and helped attract many customers. On the country farm, her bosses admired her demeanor and personality, and even after learning about her criminal record, they gifted her a bag of peaches and expressed their appreciation for her presence. Additionally, her parents admitted that they miss her and wish for her return. Although Suzuko felt unloved and struggled to find a sense of connection and belonging, she was, in fact, surrounded by genuine affection and acceptance. This support played a crucial role in her transformation, helping her confront her weaknesses and move toward self-improvement. Running away is not a solution to our problems. Though the initial relief from stress and emergence of easiness feels like a worthwhile remedy, your problems will linger, growing in size until confrontation is forcefully thrust upon you. 1 Million Yen Girl is a story about running away from our problems, and the consequences that ensue as a result. It's a serene and heartwarming story about overcoming the self and confronting our shadow. The film reveals that the path to a truly peaceful and meaningful life does not lie in the invasion of hardship, but in the courage to face it. True peace is not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of it. My channel is dedicated to illuminating the significance of stories. I believe that the proper stories can serve as a pathway to a virtuous and harmonious life. If you want to understand stories, their meaning, and importance in our lives, please consider subscribing. But regardless, thank you for watching.